Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Talk Therapy brought to you by Driveway Devi. I'm Kartik on behalf of Driveway Devi. The session today is called Trauma and All That Jazz. JAHNVI is a young, terrifically talented musician, songwriter, singer who we have been tracking and have been huge admirers of for a long time now. And we have actually been in talks with her also because, in addition to being a very talented musician, she's also very outspoken about mental health. In fact, in her, I think, almost everyday, daily life that she does herself, interspersed with the music that she presents, is always insights and a conversation and a dialogue on mental health. And all of these things put together made her extremely intriguing and inspiring to us. And I'm so happy that when we reached out, she readily agreed to be in conversation with us, in a sense, sacrificing her own individual life for this Tuesday evening. She's a bundle of energy, youthful exuberance, has a very unique aesthetic, if I may say so, and we're so excited to see where our little dialogue takes us. And let me invite JAHNVI, and we will deep dive into her psychology.
Hi.
Hello, welcome.
Good evening.
You're the first sort of legit rock star that we have on the platform. Thank
Oh
you so
my
much for
God.
doing this.
That's like so kind of you. I mean, I'm just like
Not at
one of
all.
us.
I'm not a terribly kind person. In fact, I'm quite
Yeah,
rude.
you are. Like, I'm just
Uh,
one of all of us.
how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just got ready for this Halloween that we have today.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So, with your permission, let's dive straight in.
Oh, you don't need any. All yours.
Obviously you have, I know you do your sort of, oh, somebody's saying your voice is echoing. Okay, let's correct that because that'd be terrible. I'm going to quickly get my headphones and that generally makes it okay.
All right.
Wonderful. So you have a fairly loyal and devoted audience with whom you
Oh,
sort of hang out on a very regular basis. But for some people who are our audience or might watch this later on, I would love it if you introduced yourself in your own words.
so your audience? Okay. I mean, I'm Janvi and I'm a singer, songwriter, and I do have a band now, but I've been a solo artist for a long time, writing songs. And yeah, it's really like not genre specific. So yeah, that's what I do full time. Yeah.
Fabulous, fabulous. And I want to, it always gives us insights and a very different perspective and a realistic perspective if we know just a little bit about the childhood of an individual, any individual. I think it applies to all of us. So tell us a little bit about where you grew up, what city, who was in the family, things like that.
And that's a very funny question for me because like it's the childhood that just got me who I am today, and a huge part of it. So my childhood has not been a very good one, and it has been all over the place. Like I've lived in all over, Rajasthan, and not just for just 1 year at a place. That's it. Different place, different city, and just 1 year. Oh, because of my dad's
So,
job.
so
So we used to like,
is that because of an armed forces background?
yeah. My dad is like in the police department. Yeah. So that used to happen. So I practiced like detachment pretty quickly. And the childhood was like, it was basically on and off. Like I remember being happy only until I was like 10 years old.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
what
after
changed after
that.
10?
I've never talked about this on the camera,
That's fine.
you
That's
know?
fine. So I'm going to just throw questions at you and feel free to tell me to move on to the next one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's see, without obviously getting into things that you don't wish to talk about, which we absolutely respect. What are
I
some,
definitely could talk about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
go right for it then. Go ahead, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Go ahead with the question.
So I was going to, in a sense, ask a slightly connected question, which is that tell us of, that usually in any person's life there are certain stages, phases, or very specific occurrences that shape us into the people that we become.
Oh yeah.
In my case, there were lots of things. My parents had a terribly tumultuous marriage, and I suppose the further mistake they made was that they made me the agony aunt of their marriage when I was as young as 5 or 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was sort of trying to not just play peacekeeper, but also peacemaker, which is really not a role that somebody as young as that should be sort of straddled with. And then, of course, many things happened later on. Also, I had a once in a lifetime offer, for example, from Pandit Jasraj to come and train under him, but I was told that I wasn't going to be allowed to do that in lieu of completing my education. So there are lots of things that happen. My point is, talk, if you will, about one or two incidents or stages or phases in your life that you feel impacted your mental health in a big way.
I so relate to whatever, like every single word that you said, Karthik, actually. Sadly, I did relate to it. And, as I grew up, I realized that a lot of kids go through that too. I mean, not all, it's pretty rare for kids to go through that. But it's like, yeah, I've been through pretty much the same that you're talking about, where I've been not just the peacekeeper, but the peacemaker, which is insane. Um, I would say an incident. I was 11 or 12 years old, I guess. I remember it vividly. That's when I exactly started writing, and my first poetry had come out of me. I mean, I didn't
Yeah,
put it out anyway. I used to be
yeah.
big on painting, but then it was 11 or 12 years old when I like first tried to like suicide, quote unquote. Yeah, and it was mostly because of what was going at my household. It was tons of like mental and physical abuse. Yeah, like in my parents' relationship, which impacted me and my younger brother very badly. But I would say it's very significant because without it, I wouldn't be the person that I am, and it taught me a lot of stuff. I wouldn't say that I should have been a part of it, but then we don't have any option, right?
Of course,
Yeah,
absolutely, we
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Um, the wisdom and or access to traditional means of healing, whether they are psychotherapy or an alternative modality, only come to each one of us at, again, different ages and stages of our lives. I think mostly it is fair to say during one's childhood and adolescent years, whatever trauma one is experiencing is being dealt with, if at all, to the best of our abilities by our own sort of set of coping mechanisms. They can be healthy or unhealthy coping mechanisms. What were some things that provided you solace? I know an obvious one is probably writing and music, and which I'll be happy for you to expand on. But what else? Was there a particular individual, a very close friend? Were there other more negative coping mechanisms that you were sort of falling prey to?
Oh yeah. So as in terms of friends, I mean, just because I had to change places I mean, sometimes even three places in 1 year. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Like two exams somewhere, final half yearly somewhere. So like I had no friends, never related to any students in my class either. I used to sit by myself. So as I told you before writing, like painting was my first form of expression, so I used to
Mm-hmm.
like paint a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
painting had happened, and then poetry, and I used to be big on dance, so I used to do that. But like dance is not something that you have luxury to do all the time, right? So it's like I used to do painting quite a lot and express it in my own way. Yes, I think my negative coping mechanism would be just wanting to kill myself, like a lot of times. Yeah. But then anytime I tried to do that, writing would like pull me back to the
Uh-huh.
positivity, and I wouldn't end up doing that. Yeah.
I'm
This
going to
this is
ask
so
a
hard.
slightly I'm going to ask a slightly morbid question. Again, feel free to bounce it or excuse yourself
Um,
from it. When
yeah.
when you say tried to take your own life more than several times, and in
Um,
certain instances you had a moment of clarity and positivity thanks to your writing and you didn't go through, were there also
yeah.
failed
Oh
attempts?
yes. Oh yes.
So the example I was giving you, Janvi, was that were there also instances where the attempts failed? So for example, you have a bunch of pills, but then somebody rushes you to the hospital
Oh
and, in that sense, the attempt
yeah. Now I
fails.
get it. No, nothing like that happened. Like
Okay.
just before I tried to commit anything, my brain hit me soon
Yeah.
enough to just pick my pen and not do it anymore. I mean, yeah, like there was a point where I like as soon as I start feeling the pain that I think that I can, bear and I think is worth taking, that it's worth taking my life and all
Yeah.
of those emotions taking over,
Yeah.
my mind would just hit myself and be like, no, no, there's a better way that you can deal it with. Yeah.
Now, let's move on to something a little more positive. The decision to become an independent musician is a very, very tough decision in itself. Forget about any other negative history or trauma that may or may not surround an individual, because we all know the trappings of the life of an independent musician, whether it's from getting your work out there and recognition to earning a certain livelihood. What were some of the things that made you make the decision to be a full-time musician, and where did you get the courage from?
Oh, the courage was also from that suicide incident. Um, so, like when there was this time when I decided to die with my brother, and then my brother had said something that, until and unless we have ourselves, we don't need anything. It's like we're fulfilled and we don't need no gods and we don't need no guardians until and unless we have ourselves. And that hit me so hard. And after that, and my brother was like 9 years old and he said these words and I'm like, this kid. And then and I mean, I always knew that I wanted to become an artist of some sort, whether it be painting or anything. But as soon as I found writing, I'm like, that's the best form of expression. And then I'm like, I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to, whatever it's going to be, right? But then I made it my ultimate purpose. Why? Because I was like, if this can help me, this can save me from literally taking my own life. And then whenever I used to sing those songs to other people as I grew up, I realized that I'm not the only one. Like there's people out there going through the same, and I thought that I was the only one because I was young. And those songs like started helping them, and I could connect to that. And I was like, this is gonna be my ultimate purpose for my entire life, and I'm gonna just do whatever I can to make it. So I had no fear of any sort that how will I be able to make a living. Still, I don't have any fear.
That's incredibly brave, but and I want to
Sounds
talk a little
impractical.
bit more. Sorry.
Does it sound like impractical?
No, I'm the biggest sort of romantic on the planet. I'm all for sort of chasing one's passions. But before I get a little more into detail about that journey as a professional artist, I suddenly realized and I felt compelled to ask you that throughout the past many years and perhaps more recently, what is the kind of relationship you have with your parents, if at all you have any? And have you tried to talk to them about some of the things from your childhood?
Oh, we're very open about it. We're very
Okay.
open about it. And
Okay.
I have a really brilliant relationship with my parents. It's like now it's very amazing, right? But it's like a long time of fighting and getting back. So yeah, now it's very healthy, but it's like a tightrope, walking on a tightrope. That's how it's always been, and that's how it's always gonna be, and I've accepted that fact. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so in that case, I mean, I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah.
From the time you did decide that this was it, music was your lifelong sort of pursuit, what has the journey been like? What have been some positives and perhaps some negatives, just in terms of, finding one's feet and identity as a musical brand?
The only obstacle that I think that I have had is to try and not be a people pleaser anymore. That's the number one obstacle. I don't think there's any other obstacle. I don't think you need any I mean I don't think you need to be financially big of any sort, even though I'm still one struggling artist, right? But I never felt that negativity going on, until unless you're working every day and you're just not being someone you are not, just be yourself, and you just have to push through. That's it. Just work hard every day. I mean, I've at times I've felt that, oh, I need financial aid. I'm not good enough, or all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just persistence. Yeah, that's I think that's been the number one thing.
Now I know that you are very very out there, in the sense that you're very engaged and invested in your fans. You do lives all the time. You're performing all the time, online and offline. I want to understand that apart from all the other obvious motives of performing so much, which range from self-expression to connecting with your tribe and growing them and all of that, what does singing or performing do for your mental state?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. Why ask me? Because I've been an introvert kid since always, right? Considering what kind of upbringing I had. But my legs used to shake on stage. I was that kid, run away from mic. But as soon as I started writing and saying the words that mean a lot to me, stage started feeling like home. Like now when I'm on stage, I feel like this is my home. I feel
Wow.
like the most connected to myself. And I feel like the people and I just feel like we're one, we're in sync with each other. That's how it feels. Yeah. It's
So I suppose it would be fair to then say that music has helped you and led you home and to a family and a much, much deeper understanding and
oh
appreciation
yeah.
of yourself.
Oh yes. For sure. Definitely.
That's really nice. That's really nice. Would you like to sing a few lines for us?
Okay. I'll sing this first song that I ever wrote.
Wow,
Can I bring my guitar?
please do.
Okay. This is that suicide song. Okay. So one of my guitar strings is broken right now, but
Okay.
still gonna. Okay, so this song is called like "Where We Belong," and I'll sing just the chorus of this song, which
Sure.
says, I'm not alone." So it says, all the doors. Yeah, I'll sing that ghosts part. Okay, so I say, tears in those little eyes roll down, begging for life. So I'm just talking about my little when me and my brother were little kids.
Yep.
So tears in those eyes rolled down, begging for life. But my gods turned out to be the ghosts, which were my parents.
Wow.
So, but my gods turned out to be the ghosts, leaving me unheard and broke. And all the doors closed. I couldn't find my way back to home. But I'm not gonna stand back this time, and I'm not gonna say that I'm fine, because I'm not alone, and you're not alone, and we're gonna make through from this to where we belong. That's the song.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you.
Uh,
So,
I'm getting goosebumps. Go ahead.
oh my God. Tears in those little eyes roll down, begging for life. Oh, but my gods turned out to be ghosts, leaving me unheard and broke. But all the doors closed, couldn't find my way back to home. Not gonna stand back this time, not gonna say that I'm fine. I'm not alone, and you're not alone, and we'll make it through from this to where we belong, to where we belong. Yeah, that's it. My
Wow.
guitar is like broken right now, so that's why it sounds like it.
That's it almost doesn't matter because it's such a beautiful marriage of wonderful, poignant yet simple writing, and
Thank you.
you have a great singing voice.
Oh, thank you.
Well, before we wrap this up, tell me, I know this is a slightly cliche question, but I must ask it anyway, is that as a young individual yourself, what would you sort of, say to other young people who are experiencing any kind of trauma or mental distress? I mean, there's so much nowadays that triggers us. What advice would you have for that?
Oh, yes, my triggers have still not gotten away, and it just comes back, at different points. And I feel like if I could, I would go to therapy. If I could, I would wanna, but like right now, I feel like I'm not gonna do it. I think I'm gonna have it when I have the luxury to. But the people
Yeah.
that do have the luxury to do it, please do. And the ones that have been through what I've been through, just engage in anything that makes you feel happy. I mean, I'm not talking about the negative coping
Yeah, yeah,
mechanisms.
sure.
But at certain point, Karthik, I also believe that I've met people that cut, almost every day.
Yeah,
But you know what? That is keeping them alive. Can you
yeah.
imagine the irony?
Irony, yeah, I know because it is a release. So yeah,
It's keeping them alive, and so sometimes I feel like I'm happy at least that's keeping you alive and you're not giving up. But like if you could, then for me it was writing. I feel like art is such a beautiful thing, and I feel like it's natural to most of us. It's very natural to human beings, whether it be like playing out or going out in nature, engaging with yourself, painting, or going on a walk, or just having a good friend if you can,
yeah,
if you don't have, like, you are not like me. So yeah, all those things. Like having a good friend is such a beautiful thing that could
yeah,
happen. So yeah, like for people that who are going through all of this, I usually tell them, like, I don't know, I make a lot of friends who are going through this. So I usually tell them, you know what? Dude, just write what you're thinking. And if you're not wanting to write on a paper, text me, write everything that you're feeling. Think of me as a stranger and delete it. Like delete it after that.
yeah.
I will not judge you. So talking is very important. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
All of these
what
have
I'm
been my
what I'm
therapies.
essentially getting from you is that any form of
Release.
expression, whether
Exactly.
it whatever medium it uses, is almost immaterial, is important.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because you keep it all bottled up
That's when it
inside.
goes all south. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, where we continue to be very, very delighted each time we see you and we hear you singing and performing. You're a full one-man show and army. Like,
Oh
I
my
don't,
God, Karthik.
sometimes when I randomly chance upon your lives later at night, it never occurs to me कि ओ अरे तो drummer तो है नहीं, ये तो है नहीं, वो तो है नहीं, because one doesn't miss any of those elements because you're just like you're like Zakir Hussain or something. I
You're
don't know
just
what's a
making
good
my
parallel.
day.
No, no, really, I mean it. I'm not prone to needless flattery, because it's not very often that one has, because people undervalue showmanship. It's such an important part of expression and engagement, uh,
Yes.
and you have that X quality, that very, very important facet,
Thank
which
you. Thank you, Mr. Karthik.
very many arguably more talented musicians may have, but then they have that missing, and that's very important.
Thank you.
So
I know what
anyway,
you're saying.
take care. Thank you very much for being in conversation with us, and I will see you soon, I'm sure,
Yeah,
singing
I'd like to have
one
this
of these
conversation
nights.
even again. I mean, yeah, for
Sure.
sure.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. And
Cool.
since you correct me if I'm wrong, you're in Delhi, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So now Jaipur is considered part of the NCR, in case you didn't
Oh,
know.
yes.
So we're very, very, and my wife's from Delhi. We're there all the time. We should look into doing something together on ground, just having you
For
perform
sure.
maybe as part of a fundraising concert or something.
That'd be my honor.
Wonderful. Take care. Good night, and
Yeah.
see you on the other side.
Yeah. Take care of you, Mr. Karthik. Good night.